The General's Guardian, subscribe to my channel and like a video. Let's start the video. The sun hung low over the quiet coastal town of Mariposa, painting the sky in hues of burnt orange and lavender. The salty breeze carried the distant laughter of tourists as they strolled along the beach, their sandals kicking up tiny clouds of dust. Among them, a group of young travelers, carefree and loud, spotted a lone dog resting near the shoreline. He was a scruffy thing, his fur a patchwork of brown and gray, one ear slightly torn from a long-forgotten fight. To them, he was just another stray, another nameless creature to poke fun at. "Hey, look at that mutt," one of them sneered, picking up a small stone. "Bet he's too dumb to even move." The first rock struck the dog's ribs with a dull thud. He flinched but didn't run. The second hit his hind leg. A whimper escaped his throat, but still, he stayed. "Aw, he's not even trying to get away." Another laughed, winding up for another throw. But before the stone could leave his fingers, a voice like thunder cracked through the air. "Drop it." The tourists froze. Standing behind them was an old man, tall, broad-shouldered, his iron gray hair cut close to his scalp. His eyes, sharp as a blade, locked onto them with a fury that made their blood run cold. The dog's ears perked up. His tail, for the first time in minutes, gave a weak wag. The old man stepped forward, his combat boots crunching against the gravel. "That's my dog," he said, his voice low and dangerous. The tourists scoffed, exchanging nervous glances. "Yeah, right. Like some stray belongs to..." The man didn't let them finish. In 3 strides, he was in front of them, his hand snapping out to grab the wrist of the one holding the rock. The tourist yelped as his fingers were forced open, the stone clattering to the ground. "I said drop it," the general growled. The nameplate on his faded jacket read, "Colonel Daniel Harker, Ret." But the locals knew better than to call him just Colonel. To them, he was General Harker, a man who had led battalions, survived wars, and carried the weight of lost soldiers in the lines of his face. And the dog? That was Ranger, his last remaining comrade. Flashback, 2 years earlier. The explosion had taken 3 of his men. Harker had carried the sole survivor, a military K-9 named Ranger, out of the wreckage himself. The dog had shrapnel embedded in his side, his breathing ragged, but he had still licked Harker's face weakly, as if to say, "We made it, sir." When Harker retired, Ranger came with him. The brass had wanted to reassign the dog, but Harker refused. "He's earned his peace," he'd said. And so they settled in Mariposa, where the ocean breeze soothed the nightmares, and the quiet streets held no echoes of gunfire. Ranger never left his side. He was there when Harker woke up in cold sweats, pressing his warm body against the old soldier's shaking hands. He was there on the bad days when the memories of fallen brothers threatened to drown the general in grief. And now these fools had thrown rocks at him. The reckoning. The tourists stumbled back, suddenly realizing their mistake. The general's grip was unrelenting. "You think hurting something defenseless makes you strong?" Harker's voice was a whip. "You think it's funny?" Ranger limped to his side, leaning against the general's leg. The sight of the loyal dog, still trusting despite the pain, made something inside Harker snap. "You're lucky I'm not the man I used to be," he said, releasing the tourist with a shove. "Because 5 years ago, I would have broken your hand for that." The group scrambled away, muttering half-hearted apologies. But Harker wasn't done. "Stop!" They froze. He reached into his pocket and tossed a wad of cash at their feet. "That's for the vet. You're paying for his checkup. And if I ever see you near my dog again, you'll answer to me. Understood?" They nodded frantically before bolting down the beach, their earlier bravado gone. The aftermath. Back at the small cottage overlooking the sea, Harker cleaned Ranger's wounds with gentle hands. The dog licked his fingers, forgiving as always. "Stupid mutt," Harker muttered, but his voice was thick. "You could have run. Why'd you just sit there and take it?" Ranger rested his head on the general's knee, his dark eyes full of unwavering loyalty. Because that's what soldiers did. They stood their ground. And no matter how many rocks the world threw at them, they never left their brothers behind. Parker buried his fingers in Ranger's fur and let out a slow, shuddering breath. They were both broken, both scarred, but they still had each other. Like a video and subscribe to my channel, please. Thanks for watching.